Hey guys, you can't talk houseplants without talking about the amazing trailing houseplants that we all love. If you're into any of the string of fill in the blank, then this is the video for you. Personally, I love the atmosphere and the ambiance that a good string of pearls can create, or any, for that matter, any trailing houseplant. Over time, I've begun to accumulate a lot of these string of fill in the blank houseplants, and I absolutely love them. I started with a string of pearls, then I got a string of turtles, then I found a string of dolphins, then a string of beads. I think the last one I picked up was a string of spades, but anyways, you get the idea. I would love to add a string of hearts, but I'm still looking for one of those. Anyways, I want to share with you guys in this video all of the string of houseplants, how to care for them, any sort of crucial care tips that are super important, and of course, how to propagate these plants. Despite all of these plants having a string of in their common name, there are actually some important big differences between how to care for these houseplants, and I'll be explaining all of that as well. And let me tell you, these are among the easiest houseplants to propagate, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys as well. Once you understand how and when to best water these plants and you get the lighting right, these houseplants are some of the easiest low maintenance plants there are out there, which makes them amazing and why I love these plants so much. Thanks for checking out this video. I'm Tyler, and if you like what you're seeing or you find this video to be helpful, please give it a thumbs up, or better yet, you can subscribe to my channel. If you don't already have a string of something houseplant yet, then you are definitely missing out. When you are picking one out at your local nursery, it may be a good idea to pick a larger plant that has longer stems. That way, when and if you choose to propagate this plant, then you can use some of those longer stems, and that will get you a lot further a lot more quickly. These plants are ideal in hanging baskets, but they can also be potted up into a regular pot and placed on a shelf. And I actually picked up some new hanging baskets that I want to get these plants into. So I'm going to be potting them up in this, and therefore I can share with you guys the potting mix that is perfect for some of these string of houseplants. These are my beautiful string of spades, and these guys are still a little bit too small to be repotted at this point in time. And actually their root systems are quite small and remain on the surface, so you don't really need to or want to repot these very frequently. However, if you are in need of repotting your string of spades, these plants do require soil that is well draining and well aerated, which means perlite would work well for the aeration and some grit for the drainage, and then I would add some peat moss on top of that. This is my beautiful and amazing string of turtles, and this guy is also super small at the moment. Now, this plant, the string of turtles, is actually quite different from the others when it comes to its preference for soil mix. If I were to be repotting these guys, then I would want to use a rich soil mix, something like a peat moss, which would help with the pH, the soil pH, and also help with some moisture retention. Now, when it comes to these string of beads, these guys also have a shallow root system, but they are quite a lot larger, and these are the guys that I would like to repot into my new hanging baskets. All right, so when it comes to comparing a string of beads to a string of pearls, the major difference is the string of pearls have these beautiful round succulent bits, and the string of beads, they are a little bit more pointy on the ends, but still super luscious. String of beads, string of pearls, and the string of dolphins that I'll get to shortly behind me. These plants need a well-draining soil mix. They have a shallow root system, like I explained, and they can easily get root rot if you aren't you know, conscientious and thoughtful about how you water them. So when it comes to the soil mix, we need something that is well draining. So let me show you what I have mixed up here. I've gone ahead and mixed up this soil mix here. So what I've done is I've put about equal parts of grit, that rocky sort of succulent cactus mix, in with equal parts of a perlite coconut coir mix, and then I've gone ahead and added a little bit more perlite on top of that. So this is the mix that I'll be using to pot up the string of beads and the string of dolphins in my new hanging pots. These are like a jute or something with a plastic lining, but I'm going to use these nursery pots that I have left over, and of course, as you can see, there's a ton of drainage at the bottom. Now, these pots are not quite a perfect fit. They're not as deep as these, so to mitigate that sort of height difference, I'm going to add some of my favorite horticultural charcoal to the bottom, which will help absorb any excess moisture, and that will kind of get the pot at the right height. So let me go ahead and get started on repotting these into these beautiful new hanging baskets that I got. So I've gone ahead and added some of the charcoal to the base, and now you can see when I put these nursery pots in, they come right to just slightly below the edge of these hanging baskets, which is perfect. So as you can see, these nursery pots are virtually the same size as the pots that they came in. So I'm not sure how much of the soil mix I'll need to incorporate into this, but we'll find out. All right, so let's loosen this up here. Just give it some good squeezes. Let's see if I can get this out easily. Oh, there we go. All right. So despite having, you know, shallow roots, there are quite a lot of roots on this guy, which is a great sign. This is a really nice and healthy plant. I'm gonna loosen some of this soil just a tad. Keep some of this old soil out of the new mix. Oh. That way we can give it some fresh soil. All right. All right, it's getting a little messy in here. So I gone ahead and added some of my new soil mix to the base and bottom of the new container. And now I'm going to carefully, you know, transplant this guy over. And let's see if this is gonna work. Maybe a little bit too much of that. A little bit less. Just be careful with the roots here. This should work actually. All right, so I think that's pretty decent, and just carefully. Now, if you do lose any pieces, hang on to those. You can use those to propagate. So let's see if we can get this into this hanging basket carefully. All right, how does that look? So managed to get this string of beads into its new home. There was one casualty, but not to fret. I'm going to show you how to propagate this little guy and create a whole new plant. All right, so I'm gonna do the same thing with this string of dolphins, and I hope you guys can see this is called a string of dolphins because the little succulent bits look like a jumping or swimming dolphin, and I just love these. All right, let's see what the roots look like on this string of crunchy dolphins. All right. I feel like this could be an ASMR video with all this crunchy root noise. All right, so this is a little bit trickier, this one. All right, come on. All right, I'll be right back. All right, this guy was totally root bound, some root porn. Yeah, so let's get this guy potted up the same way that I potted up the last one. Probably won't need very much of that new soil mix, but we'll see if I can get some in there. So I did lose a few strands on repotting this guy, so I have some stems to use to propagate this guy here along with the string of beads strand that I lost earlier. So I'm going to set this aside and then I can show you guys how easy it is to propagate your string of beads and your string of dolphins. All right, there we go. That one's done. All right, so before jumping into the propagation portion of this video, I want to share with you guys some information and crucial care tips when it comes to all of the different type of string of plants I'm sharing in this video, and that is going to start with the turtles and the spades, the string of spades, and then I will eventually get to propagating. So the string of pearls and beads and that kind of thing are native to the deserts of East Africa, whereas the string of turtles is native to Brazil. The string of spades is a little bit more prolific and is native to Australia, Africa, and parts of Southern Asia. All right, care tips for the pearls, beads, and dolphins. These are really simple. Like I said, when you get the watering and the light right, you are good to go. So how do I water these? What I do is I water them only once about every other week, and what I do is I do use the dunk method. So that means I fill up a little sink, laundry sink, kitchen sink, whatever you have, with a little bit of water, and I place them in that water for, you know, depending on the size of the plant, anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes or thereabouts. And that's basically it. You definitely do not want to overwater these. They, the root system can be very susceptible to root rot. So by, you know, like I said, watering them, you know, once every other week, you're really good to go. And it comes to care tips for the string of spades. I would suggest the same type of watering regimen. However, when it comes to light, there is a little bit of a difference between these plants and the string of pearls. So string of pearls and beads, the ones that I was talking about before, they do well in bright light. I've had a lot of success with keeping them in those baskets, as you've seen in south-facing windows. These guys, however, they don't want that much light. You're going to get better results if you give them sort of dapple, some dapple light. Finally, these cute little string of turtles. These are a whole different ball game when it comes to light and watering. Like I was explaining when I was talking about using peat moss for the soil mix, and that helps retain a little bit more moisture because these guys do like a little bit of a moist soil. But because you're using that peat moss instead of well-draining soil, it should be retaining onto some moisture, which means you shouldn't have to water it, you know, more than basically once a week or once every other week like the other ones, because the soil should do its job for you and hold on to some of that moisture. When it comes to light for the string of turtles, excuse me, they are also a little bit different. These you want to keep in bright, indirect light. If they do get direct sun or too much direct sun, you can actually damage the little turtle part. So be careful when it comes to lighting on these guys. They are different from the others. A couple other really pro tips when it comes to a string of turtles. The first is, in the summer months, keep an eye on the humidity level for these plants, and you may want to up the humidity. And the other pro tip too is these plants sometimes need to be pruned. So if they're going a little bit crazy, pruning is not a bad thing. It can be a good thing. So when it comes to string of turtles, they are a little bit different from the others, even though, we call them a string of, in their common name, like these other plants. Let me really quickly show you how easy it is to propagate this string of beads. So I've gone ahead and used a small little nursery pot and filled it with my soil mix that I pre-mixed over here. And basically, these are super simple. You'll want a sharp pair of clean shears, and I'm gonna grab mine and show you what you need to do. So I went ahead and used my shears and cut that one long strand into 5 pieces, and that's the first step. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is on each strand, you're gonna wanna remove some, but not all, of the beads close to the end of where you've made those cuts. So if you recognize this, I propagated these string of pearls in my last string of pearls video. So if you want to check that out, I will throw the link up for that video. But these are looking very plump and they propagated very nicely. And I'm gonna share the technique. There's kind of 2 different ways that I like to propagate these. So as you can see, I've removed some of the beads on either side. And the first thing I like to do is to take some of these and get them in there and basically put both ends of the stem into the pot. And basically, once I've done that with a few pieces, you'll get a really sort of robust root system on this new plant. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that for more. And then I always like to keep one longer piece that I like to stick in and have coming over the edge to help get some of that length going on this new plant. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now and show you what it looks like when it's all done. All right, so there you go. As you can see, most of the little pieces that I had cut up, I put both ends into the pot, and then I have left this one piece hanging out. You're gonna wanna give this some moisture, a little bit of water, and a good light source. The windowsill is the perfect spot for it. And in no time, this will take off, develop those roots, and give you some nice, plump, juicy pearls. Which of the string of houseplants is your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. That's it for me. Miss you guys already. See you next Saturday.